Kicking Country 103.1, Chuck Baker. The Green Apple Music Series is getting underway in Eden. Their very first show is going to be awesome. The Black Lillies are playing this Saturday, March 18th. Tomorrow night, we are just right there. And I happen to have the band leader, Cruz Contreras, on the line with me right now. And Cruz, good morning.
Howdy, Chuck. How you doing? I'm up and at 'em.
Man,
I've been awake for 5 minutes.
I want to thank you for getting out of bed because I know you guys, you play every night pretty much. And so, getting you up and on the radio in the morning, I appreciate it.
I'm glad to be up for this.
Let me just throw a few things out there. One of those being that your music, you obviously cannot be put in a box. Tennessee music, swampy Memphis soul and blues, Nashville's classic country, East Tennessee's traditional Appalachian style. You've been called rock and soul by, I think it was Rolling Stone. What do you say you are?
Oh, it's hopefully good music. That the term Americana gets thrown around a lot. It's roots music, and we're really fortunate. Just like the great music scene here in Texas, there's a great music scene in Tennessee, and we've grown up around bluegrass and soul and country and mountain music and rock and roll, and it's just those are all influences in the music I write and the music we perform. And I'm also kind of stubborn, so if somebody tells me I got to do one thing, I'll probably do something else.
Let me ask you, do you write pretty much all of the music yourself?
Yeah, I do. I kind of start from a singer-songwriter perspective, and I want the songs to be able to stand up on their own. I should be able to perform a solo show or sit down at the piano and perform the songs. But, from there we surround, fill out the band with the best players and best people we can find, and every show is going to be a little different. It's not a canned show.
Now let me ask you where you're based out of.
Knoxville, Tennessee is my home base. The band has been around about 8 years, and when we first started, I would say all the members were based out of there. At this point, we have a few Texans that are also part of the band. Dustin Schaefer, who's originally from Victoria, is playing lead guitar and singing, and Haley Cole, who lives in San Marcos these days, is singing with us.
She just recently joined you, didn't she?
Yeah, back at the beginning of the year. We just did a 6-week European tour.
Now, what was that like playing over in Europe? Tell me about that.
Wow, that was a brand new experience. I've never traveled barely out of the country, in my life, touring and playing music. I've been to every nook and cranny of the U.S., but that was very different. We played in Sweden for 2 weeks. We went to Germany, Holland, the U.K., and Spain. It's a challenge, Every day you're changing, dealing with a different language, different currency, different food, different culture. But it was really educational. It was a great challenge. It was rewarding, and I'm sure we'll be going back.
Let me ask you about this. Let's come back to the U.S. You played all over the U.S., as you said, and you've gone from let's say the New Orleans Jazz Festival, and then you turn around and you play the Grand Ole Opry.
We've been very, very fortunate. The Opry specifically, I think we've played there about 40 times, and that's something you never take for granted. In the country music world, there's really no bigger honor. Yeah, the Jazz Fest last year, when we got the call for that, I couldn't even believe it. And again, a great honor to play in New Orleans at such a renowned festival. And we've been a very fortunate band, and you never take those opportunities for granted.
We play your music on Kickin' Country 103.1. People are already familiar with the Black Lillies. And tell our listeners what they can expect in the show.
Oh, goodness. This kind of reminds me of a story. We played in San Marcos probably late last year. And this young guy came up to me after the show, and he looked at me and said, "That was really great." He says, "I don't know what it was." And then he paused for a second. He said, "That was an experience." And to me, that was the highest compliment. So it's a ride. It's almost like a movie without the movie part. We're going to go through genres. We're going to do rock and roll. We're going to do soul. We're going to do country. We're going to pass it around. We have a lot of duets. We're going to feature our guitar player, feature our pedal steel player. Our bass player is going to sing lead. It's a musical journey.
I tell you what, I want to do one more thing, and that is I want you to introduce dancing for me. We're going to play that as we wrap up the broadcast.
I'm glad you're doing that. That was one other thing I was going to say about the show. I don't know how much or if there is dance space there, but the music is very danceable, and if anybody wants to show up and cut a rug, I would recommend doing that.
Well, introduce Dancing for me.
Yeah, this is just one of those feel-good songs. You know, sometimes you overthink a song, and I told myself just write a song that feels good and puts everybody in a good mood. And this is just about a couple who's kind of thinking back to the good old days when they used to go dancing and say, hey, let's go dancing again, just like we used to do.
Cruz, thank you so much for spending some time. Everybody, the Black Lillies going to be at the Green Apple Music Arts Center, the first in this year's series in Eden, Texas, tomorrow night.
All right.
Don't miss the show.
Let's get it kicked off. We'll see you in Eden.